Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. I really appreciate all the support. We're excited about the guest we have today. We are joined today by another absolute legend of the business with a career that spans nearly 5 decades, best known for his roles in I Always Know What You Did Last Summer, and of course, Michael Myers in Halloween 5. Mr. Don Shanks, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing wonderful. Just want to ask you, Mr. Don, what is it that got you into acting and stunt work?
Well, originally, I did some plays when I was in high school, and then when I went to college, I was a theater major, and I did acting and tech, and and everything just kind of came off of that.
Okay. I'm just kind of jumping into it. I mean, I know it was really early in your career, but do you remember a lot about your time as Nakoma on the Life and Times of Grizzly Adams?
Oh yes. um, well, see, it kind of started. I live in Salt Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing a play at the Salt Palace, and I was doing special effects makeup because at the time I was 22 and I was playing a guy 65.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I had my hair up in a wig, had a ball cap on and did prosthetic makeup and had a pot belly. And some people came back afterwards and I started doing the Mission Impossible thing about peeling the makeup off.
Oh.
And I go, wow, you look a lot different, yeah. And I took the wig off and the hair came down and took the belly off. Well, anyway, about 3 months later, the group came in from Boston and they were doing this movie. And they said they needed somebody to be tore up by a bear if I could do the makeup. So I called them and I said, yeah. And I go, do you need any actors? And they go, well, we need an Indian. I go, well, three of my grandparents were Indian.
Wow.
And they go, well, you got to be able to wrestle a bear. And I said, okay, I can do that.
Wow.
And that's how that started. And we did the movie. We did one with Dick Robinson first, and then we did another one with Dan Haggerty, and then the series came off of that. And so, I kind of did my own stunts, and, because as a kid, I'd see something on TV or in a movie, and I lived on a farm, and so, I had the whole barn rigged up like a mast of a ship, because I saw the Crimson Pirates, and we'd do the swinging and all that, and I'd take my horse out, and I'd do all the little trick stuff, off the horse and stuff. And so, as a kid, I was actually doing some pretty good stunts.
Wow, that's
Oh,
awesome.
wow. I can't believe a job criteria was wrestle a bear.
Well, I figure if anybody could do it, I could do it.
There you go.
Absolutely. Don, a fun movie that we've reviewed in the past that we like to ask you about real quick is just, it's kind of become a cult classic now, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Can you tell us about your role in that film?
Well, I had several roles in that film. The people who had done Grizzly Adams, they were started another company. Chuck Sellier was the producer on our show, and then he was the director on Silent Night, Deadly Night. And anyway, Frank Bear, a friend of mine, was coordinating it. And I came in, and I was doubling the Santa Claus. I doubled the cop. I doubled the priest. Well, I didn't double. I was the priest. And then I did the guy climbing through the window into the kid's bedroom.
Right.
So it was one of those, I got to do all, I throw axes, I throw knives, and so, they had me throwing the axe in that, that Linnea Quigley was the one that I killed first.
Mm-hmm.
And at first they wanted me, there's this Santa Claus next to where the telephone was. And they go, can you cut the telephone cord? I said, well, that's a little iffy, but how about if I split the Santa Claus? And, they go, okay, we'll do that. And so I was showing Linnea, we had a rubber axe. I said, okay, now this is what you need to do. Now, don't step this way, don't do this, and she's like, okay, fine. And so when we did it, I threw the real axe, and she goes, we're stepping out, and she goes, that was kind of incredible. And I go, well, this is what I He goes, no, how'd you stick that rubber axe in the wall?
No.
I go, they didn't tell you I was throwing a real axe at you? And they said, no.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So that was, but, cutting off people's head with an axe and doing all the, edge weapons are one of my specialty.
Absolutely. Speaking of that stunt work, we've had Ken Kersinger, Kane Hodder, a lot of actors, Tyler Mane, who spent time, with stuntmen and stunt coordinators. Can you talk about the work, it takes to be a stunt coordinator on a job like that?
Well, I had a lot of good advice from people coming up. One of the special effects guys that we had on the show, his name was Harry Wallman, and he was like the history of movies. He had done like 6,000 movies and TV shows.
Oh, wow.
He was in silent movies. He was one of the Keystone Cops. He went on from there. He said, when they were doing the original, silent movies, they were all next to each other. So he might take a pie over at this one and do a pratfall. He might get knocked through a window over at this one, and he'd just go down the line working.
Oh, wow.
And then he was the stunt double for Charles Lawton in Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he was Clark Gable's double.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like the history of what stunts were when people started rigging them, him and Yakima Canet. And so, I got a lot of my information from him, and then our stunt coordinator on the Grizzly Adams show, his name was Denny Arnold, and he invented a lot of the stuff that you see, the air ratchets when you get shot and you get blown back,
right?
Air rams, and so I learned from them, and it made it easier, So coming in and doing the stunts, and then you get a little more into it, and then you start coordinating. And the main thing is that you want to make sure that everything's safe,
right?
And that the people that you hire know what they're doing.
Right.
Oh, yes, sir.
But
Don,
a lot of people, pardon?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what were you going to say?
I was just going to bring up, Halloween now. I mean, we're a horror podcast. We love Michael Myers, Halloween. Don, can you just talk just a little bit about how you got the role as Michael Myers in Halloween 5?
Well, okay. Well, Don Pike, who's the coordinator on the show, who I'd met on a Chips episode where I was doubling Fred Dreyer doing some martial arts. And so he came in the town, and he called me, and he said, are you available to do stunt work? And I said, yeah, okay. I go, what are you doing? He goes, well, it's Halloween 5, and blah, 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 this and that. I go, yeah, I'm available. And about 10 minutes later, he calls me back, and he goes, the director would like to see you. I go, I mean, that's kind of unusual for, wanting me for stunt work. And he goes, no, they want to see you about playing Michael Myers. I go, oh, okay. So I went and met with the director, Dominique, and we talked for a little bit, and he says, okay, I just want to talk you through one thing. He goes, I want you to walk like wood through water. I go, okay. And I got up and I walked, and he goes, okay, perfect, you got the role.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty awesome. And hey, I'm sure you probably are tired of answering this question, but but by the time Halloween 5 came out, you were, I believe, more than this, but at least the fourth actor to play the Shape. Can you tell us, how you approached that role? I mean, did you try to mimic anything that had come before? I mean, I know Halloween 4 had just come out, I think, when you guys started filming this.
Mm-hmm. Well, they asked me not to go and say anything.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They wanted to, have just what I was going to bring to it. And back when I was in college, I mean, I took mime classes and, things like that, so it kind of went along with what Michael is.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And you just kind of, think about what you're doing in the scene, and it'll come off. I mean, your body will sell it more.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes, sir. Can you talk a little bit about working with the late Donald Pleasance? Speaking of stunt work, there's something I read of you getting injured by Mr. Pleasance accidentally during a scene.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Donald was, I don't know, I consider him the ultimate actor. You know, Peter O'Toole said that he was the best actor in England.
Mm.
We were doing the scene where I wrecked the car and I come after I killed Tina and, you know, and all that. And they were wrapping me for the night because, you know, they weren't going to see me. And he came to my dressing room and he knocked on the door and he goes, "Might I ask a favor of you?" I go, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "Would you mind being out in the woods? I don't need to see you, but I just want to know that you're out there. I want to feel your presence." I go, "Okay, sure." So they go, "No, you're already wrapped." I go, "No, it's fine." You know, so I put the wardrobe on and the mask and everything, even though he wasn't going to see it, you know. And I don't know, I just thought that was something I could do for him. And
Right.
so when we're doing the scene in where I'm coming down the stairs and he's trying to talk me out of it, and then I get all ballistic on him, he wanted to do his own stunts. I mean, we had a stunt double for him. And I go, "Okay, but, I'll
Right.
take you through the window, but I think when you go over the railing, you want a stunt person to do that." He goes, "Oh, okay. Well, but just as long as they can see my face, you know, I want them to, you know." I go, "Okay, fine." And Don says, "Okay." So we're doing the scene where he takes, you know, the little girl in there, and he's like, you know, Michael, you know, and they shoot me with the darts, and then he starts beating me with a 2x4. And the 2x4 was foam, but it had PVC in it. And on the 4 side, it was pretty thick, you know, but on the 2 side, a part of it was sticking out. And so, I mean, we kept doing it, and, you know, finally he caught me across the nose, and, you know, blood was coming out of the mask, and Don
Ooh.
goes, "Did he get you?" And I go, "Yeah, it's okay, don't worry." You know, so we just kept going.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
it broke my nose.
Oh, wow.
But I've had my nose broken so many times. I mean, I had it broken one time where it was laying on the side of my face.
Oh
And
my
my coach
God.
took two
Wow.
pencil, put it up my nose, and straightened it back out. And he goes, "Okay, get back out there."
Wow. Would that be one of the worst injuries you've had as a stuntman, would you say? Or have you had
Oh,
worse?
no, I've broken my back.
Oof.
You know, Dan Haggerty cut off 2 of my fingers one time. They sewed them
What?
back on. Yeah, we were doing a scene, and he slipped, and he cut off 2 of my fingers, and went and had them sewn back on and came back to work. I've never
Wow.
missed a day of work,
Oh
That's
my
that's
even when
God.
I broke
impressive.
my back. You
Wow.
know, I was in Atlanta doing it, and I went into the bag, and it flipped me back up, and I went to see where I was. I landed on my face, and my heels came around and hit me in the back of the head.
Golly.
So I went to the hospital, got some, and I came back to work.
That's
I didn't
impressive.
know it was broken at the time.
You are real life Michael Myers.
Yes, just have to
So
keep going.
that's it. So speaking of that, this is the last Halloween question for you, I promise. But so arguably, one of the most visually interesting scenes of the entire franchise probably is when, the little girl Danielle Harris is inside that metal laundry chute and you're stabbing through it. Now, surely this isn't true, but is it really true that there was a real knife and really Harris
Oh
behind
yeah.
there? I mean,
Oh
how did
no.
you guys do that? That seems crazy.
Well, I had it all. Well, it kind of goes back to the knife throwing thing. You know, my adopted father was a world champion knife and tomahawk thrower.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, during World War II, he had the world record kill of 90 feet, pinning a German sentry through the neck. So, but he could cover up a person and throw knives at him. And I kind of learned from him. So what it was, we mapped out where it was. I mean, there's little dots and stuff where where I was going to stab and she was going to be, because she wanted to do it. You know, we had a stunt double for her too, but she was so gung-ho. I mean, Danielle is a trooper, I got to tell you. You know, when I'm chasing her with the car, I mean, I couldn't hardly see. There's so much fog. There's one scene where they took a still of it, and there's smoke coming out of the mask.
Wow.
Because we had so much fog. But it's like, okay, be here, all right. And then, and it's, if you look at it a little bit, it's, the camera doesn't have any dimension. So I'm 6 inches off, and it looks like it's closer than that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But it's kind of hard to stab with those knives because they don't have a hilt on them. Because it will slide up on your hand.
Right.
So both of, it was iffy both ways, but it worked out.
Yes, it did.
And I got to hand it to Danielle. A little sweetheart.
That's crazy. I heard that. I had to ask you that question because I thought surely that's not true. But that's crazy. I don't know how much that would fly in today's world.
No, I don't think it would fly at all. And I don't know if Danielle would do it now. But she was 11 years old at the time, and she was just a trooper. She just she wanted to be part of the crew. She wanted, hang out with, she wasn't a kid. You just considered her one of the actors.
Right. Well, okay, so shifting gears just a little bit, I want to ask you, you have something that looks like is releasing this year, and it's Paranormal Prison. Without spoiling it, can you talk a little bit about that film and your role?
Well, it's well, I think it would throw it off if I told you what my role was.
Oh, okay.
But it was a little film that was shot up in Idaho, and I don't know, you're just going to have to see it.
Okay. Is it releasing on all the streaming platforms, or how are they going to do the release? Do you know?
You know what? I'm not sure just yet. There are several things that they're trying to do. I think they have a YouTube.
Okay.
I'm just trying to pull it up right now. Anyway, it was a fun little film to do.
Well, everybody make sure you go out and look for Paranormal Prison with Mr. Don Shanks.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Don Shanks, I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Before I give your, cameo a quick shout out, there's one fun question that I just really want to ask you that we've asked a lot of our previous guests. I've seen several of your interviews on YouTube. I know you do a lot of horror conventions. Can you just tell us a story of maybe your funniest moment or like the weirdest moment or weirdest experience with a fan? We'd love to hear these stories.
I don't know. I always consider doing the things with the fans. They're the ones who make you what you are.
Absolutely.
Right? And whenever we do an interview, I always thank them because without them, we wouldn't be here. No one would, it's 30 years or better now that we did Halloween. With Grizzly Adams, it's, close to 50, getting close to 50.
Right.
And the fans are still, enthusiastic, and they usually know more than I do.
Oh, yes, us horror fans are really obsessed.
But I did one up in Cleveland, and they had a cover band for Alice Cooper. And I came on stage, I was hanging there, when they opened up, and then I come out of the noose, and then I go and I pick up the lead singer, and I smash him around and stuff. That was kind of fun.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, nobody knew. It looked like a dummy hanging there, and nobody knew that it was, Then all of a sudden it comes alive. But, the fans are, like I said, I can't say enough about them. And I'd say next to probably Star Trek, that the horror fans are the best.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Don Shanks, you did a cameo intro for us, so we definitely want to, plug that for you. Is there anything else you'd like to plug that our audience can keep up with you on?
No, I'm just, hanging out, going to the gym, trying to, If anybody calls me, I'm going to be ready.
Well, all right, sounds good.
Oh, absolutely.
You never know when somebody wants somebody killed or to wrestle a bear.
Well, maybe we can get these horror conventions started up again since COVID's kind of dwindling a little bit. So.
Well, I'm ready whenever they do it.
Oh, yes, sir. And one more quick shout out to Mr. Don Shanks. He's on Cameo if you want to get a shout out from him. So check it out. He's a really nice guy. Mr. Don Shanks, thank you so much for coming on our show. We really appreciate it, man.
Well, thank you.
You're awesome. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you again.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.